Hi, my name is Julia and I had a baby during a chemistry class. 4 years ago, I was just a regular schoolgirl. I was 15 years old. One day, I was in class when I suddenly felt terribly sick. My abdomen hurt really badly and I thought I'd die. But let's not get ahead of this story. Flashback to a year earlier to get an idea of how it all started. I was 14 at the time. A new student joined my class at school. He was very handsome, outgoing, and well-dressed. In fact, he really stood out among the other guys in my class. Every girl was nearly obsessed upon dating him. But he only had eyes for me, a quiet and modest girl whom was often teased or mocked. Now that I attracted the new guy's attention, everyone outright hated me. Pete did everything he could to protect me, and I really appreciated that. He was so supportive. Once he took me to the water park and we had a lot of fun together. I used to be afraid of water, but he actually taught me how to swim. I got very attached to him and head over heels. But then I could see Pete started losing interest in me. I could clearly see it. I had the chance to go through the tests on his phone while he was out of the classroom. To put it bluntly, I was shocked to find out he was already dating another girl. She was so much prettier than me. I saw red, but I kept calm as I couldn't let him see how I felt. I needed to figure out how to bring my Peter back. Nobody could have him but me. The plan I concocted was highly ludicrous, but I hope you can find some empathy for me. You understand how love makes people do crazy things. First, I waited until the right time when I would have the house to myself. The opportunity showed up itself a few weeks later when my parents left for a 1-week seaside vacation, so I only had our old neighbor to look after me. Of course, they offered to take me with them, but I flat out refused. I knew this was probably my only shot. Now I needed an excuse to invite Pete over. What I did was to go to a flea market and buy a junk computer for $50. It was like decades old. I called Pete and asked him to help me install Windows on this thing. He was nice enough to come by that evening. I was delighted to watch my plan unfold. Pete spent hours fiddling with the computer until he concluded that the only system it could run was Windows 95, which he didn't have on hand. He was just going to leave when I slid into his lip, hugged him, and whispered that I'd like to treat him to a cake that I've just baked for him. Between you and me, the cake was store-bought. I had spiked the cake with sedative beforehand. 10 minutes after Pete had a piece, he looked sluggish and slow, and he was yawning a lot. I suggested that I should lie down and offer him a bed. He fell asleep as soon as he had touched a pillow. As Pete slept, I jumped for joy. Things were going exactly as I had planned. The most important part ahead. When Pete stirred in bed, I turned off the lights and crawled under the blanket next to him. I reminded him of the best moments we had experienced together. He was so touched to hear it, he even teared up a little. It felt just like 6 months ago, back when we first met. He held me close and kissed me first. After we woke up together in the morning, Pete was very upset. As he realized what had happened, he rushed home. We never spoke again. When our school vacations were over, we met again, but he completely ignored me. I knew he wouldn't ignore me for long, though. I was pregnant. I did my best to hide my condition, so I kept going to school until the very last day. Fortunately, I was a pretty chubby girl, so my baby bump wasn't obvious. Why did I keep my pregnancy a secret? Well, my parents would have insisted I get rid of the child, and then my plan would fail. I was actually going to stop attending school 2 weeks before I was due, but life had other plans. I remember it was a chemistry class and the teacher was performing an experiment. All of a sudden, sharp pain shot through my abdomen. Everybody was stunned at first. I felt so horrible and frightened. I thought I would die. I kept screaming, but eventually all went well. That was just my baby coming 16 days earlier than planned, and he chose a chemistry class of all places. I was dreadfully ashamed to go through the process with all my classmates watching the embarrassed teacher not knowing what to do with himself. I don't think he'd ever seen it happen before. Thankfully, my baby was healthy and he took the experience well. We only had to spend 2 weeks at the hospital. The real disaster is that Pete's family has moved to another country and all he does for me is send some money sometimes. After all, my plan was utterly ridiculous and I failed miserably. Instead of keeping P by my side, all I achieved was a ton of new problems. Please, learn from my mistake. If someone doesn't love you anymore, just let them go. You can't do anything to rekindle their feelings for you, so you just need to leave it off. Now, I need to raise my son to be a good person, and it's going to be extremely hard without a father. Would you like to see more episodes? Support us by hitting like and subscribe. If you want to see your story in one of our videos, send it to this email.